Yeah, it's really this main drag that's shut down. They're slowly starting to kind of tighten that a little bit just to show you down the road. So it is thinning out a little bit here, and some of the businesses were closed, but definitely a huge police presence blocking off this main street of town. Still, people were saying that they were all parking in the parking lots nearby, standing with each other, trying to figure out what happened and talk with one another. I know I spoke with one girl who was in the store, and she said that even just standing here talking to other people who were here or who had calls was a little bit helpful to try and make sense of the situation that really doesn't make a lot of sense right now, and people just feel helpless, so they want to talk with one another. I mean, the response right after it happened, I spoke with a lot of people that came here, and they said that they were calling loved ones, trying to figure out who was in the store. One man told me he drove here as soon as he heard it was happening to see if he could help with any way, and he said he was trying to pull people who were injured out of the way and went home to clean blood off his arms. It's really just a lot that people are still trying to unpack, a lot of shock right now, I think, because it's a tight-knit community here. A lot of people said, oh, I had a friend in the store. Most people I spoke to here said they knew someone who was in that store today. And so a shooting like this obviously is something that is so painful and so heartbreaking. And in a small town where everybody knows everybody, it is that next level of everyone seems to know someone that was in that store today, and just, again, hard to make sense of it all. It's just heartbreaking to see.
Now, Sarah, you talked about that response, and it looks like local police department really did respond quickly. Just from the looks of it, I know that there's a lot of police presence out there, but can you see and tell us what that police presence looks like from Dallas County to other responding law enforcement? Who all is out there, and how did they respond?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you everyone for sure. I know we saw drones, we saw helicopters, I saw Arkadelphia police here, so really a wide range. When we first got here, I was actually talking with my photographer, trying to count how many different departments were here, because this is such a huge event. We saw troopers flying down the highway on our drive over here, still trying to assess the situation. Ambulances were still leaving the scene. So right now it seems that that emergent minute that we arrived earlier this morning has kind of calmed down, and now it's assessing what's next, how did this happen, and what are the details that we need to know. And that's what we're waiting on from state police right now for that next press conference. I know you mentioned, Faith, that they say the shooter is in custody, and that is an important fact to know, because on our way down here, even still standing at the first hour or so, there were a lot of rumors about what was going on, and I think that sparked a lot of fear in people, because rumors can spread in a situation like this, especially when loved ones are involved, when people have died and you're not sure who necessarily. Those rumors can have a big impact. So I think this press conference is really important. And when that first press release came out, knowing those numbers, knowing that the shooter was in custody knowing the shooter was in custody especially was a big relief to people in the area who, may have thought something was still going on. So knowing that the situation is contained is important, and that's really what we're focusing on now, is what's next as police are investigating, and that's what we're hoping to hear from this press conference. I know that our Ashley Godwin is going to be at that press conference asking questions, as a lot of people here have those questions. But right now, it's a sad scene here. I can't even convey the emotion, I don't think, it's just heavy in the air. But I'll send it back to you guys for now in studio.
All right, THV 11, Sarah Horbakowitz, thank you so much for that reporting there, just painting the picture of what people are experiencing out there. This is a developing story. We'll continue to update you, but we do have team coverage just with this developing situation. I want to bring in THV 11's Ashley Godwin. Ashley, what can you tell us about what you're learning from police and from people in that area?
Faith, I think Sarah said it best when we can't convey the emotions and the heartbreak that is happening in Fordyce right now. I am at the press conference. We were just told that Arkansas State Police will be out here any minute to brief us on the details that they have. The limited knowledge that we have so far is that the shooting happened at 11:30 today at the Mad Butcher. Like Sarah said, the only grocery store in Fordyce. We know that 2 people are dead and several more injured. Photographer Danny and I were at the medical center where those are being treated, and police had it surrounded and blocked off, and we saw family members who were waiting to hear more about their loved ones, and just several media outlets here waiting to get more details to find out what exactly happened. There's a lot of talk, a lot of information spreading around, but we're trying to figure out exactly what happened this afternoon to make such a horrific scene happen, and we're going to stay here until we do get those details. Like I said, Arkansas State Police said they would be out here any minute now. Sarah had a lot of the information down just a couple blocks from where we are of where the shooting happened, and I can't describe. We were only on the outskirts, and there were dozens of police agencies surrounding that grocery store on the main strip of Fordyce where several businesses are. We did talk to one individual. His name was Philip. Philip said that he lived a couple blocks from where it happened. He said it sounded like fireworks going off because there's a fireworks stand right near the Mad Butcher, and he went out, and that's when people started saying that there was a shooter. So he quickly went back into his house. He said he had a family. He was really concerned about what was going on, Faith, and we're here to get those details and make sure we understand what exactly happened.
Now, Ashley, you mentioned that you were at the medical center where a lot of those people were getting treated after this incident. Can you tell us what some of those conversations were like? With some of those family members worried, trying to see if some of their family members were impacted. What were some of those things you were overhearing in those conversations?
Faith, I wish I could say I was close enough. Like I said, police had the building barricaded around. We were several feet back from where those family members were. But some family members did come over near our, where we were set up near our car, and they were just heartbroken that something like this could happen in the area. And we were able to talk to some police. They didn't give us any official details, but they are all just concerned about what happened today, Faith.
All right, Ashley, thank you. I want to bring in THV 11 Sarah Horbakowitz again. Sarah, you're very close in proximity to where everything happened. Again, what is that police presence looking like? Is it dying down? Does it look like a lot of police are still responding to the scene? What does it look like from your vantage point?
Yeah, Faith, we're not seeing a lot of new police coming in. Things seem to be thinning just a little on the outskirts, but we're still seeing a heavy police presence right near the grocery store. Again, I want to step out just to show you the street, show you the grocery store. Here's what it looks like. It is just kind of a big scene with a lot of officers. There's been a big group standing. There are cones on the ground. And again, those bullet holes in the grocery store doors. It's just something that you can't imagine. When we first got here, we saw employees here, you know, still in their Mad Butcher aprons saying that they were in hiding and still in shock of the scene. And it's kind of a balance being here as a journalist as well, because we know that people want to know the latest and what's going on, but also this is someone's most emotional, traumatic moment. So really balancing being a human in that. And earlier when I got here, I kind of sat with a woman who said her son was one of the responding officers, and she was trying to figure out if he was okay and what status everything was at. And as we meet people and as we kind of stay here for a while, we're learning a little bit more about how well this community is connected to one another and how people are telling each other, hey, I know so-and-so's okay. But that really is the focus, is trying to make sure your people are okay. That's what I keep hearing. And now trying to figure out, like we said, what's next. So we're really waiting on state police at this point to find out the details of what's going on, to clarify some of those rumors. I know a lot of people in Fordyce told me that they first found out about this on social media. There was a video going around where someone was posting gunshots on social media, and that's when they first heard, and they came to this location as soon as they could and tried to see how they could help. I mean, that's something that speaks to the town's community as itself, but this is just something you never want to see, something that is so heartbreaking. And again, when we first got here, that stillness, that eeriness of just all you could hear a little bit was, you know, some emotions, but otherwise just trying to figure it all out and make sense of it all, more so than even questions, because a lot of people, you don't even know what to say at this point. But it's just a scene that we're still trying to figure out those details, as well as trying to manage those emotions and figure out what all this is, because Ashley's never been to something like this. I've never been to something like this. I don't think most people in this newsroom in Arkansas have seen, in person. It's just something so terrible that you don't want to experience, you don't want to have to report on, but it's important that we are here sharing that information so people know and so people can respond to this. But for now, I'll send it back to you, Faith.
All right, Sarah, thank you. And as she said, social media did play a role just in the response and police learning about what took place today. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders also taking to social media just to describe what happened today. She said, quote, "I have been briefed on the tragic shooting in Fordyce, and I'm in constant contact with state police at the scene. I am thankful to law enforcement and first responders for their quick and heroic action to save lives. My prayers are with the victims and all those impacted by this horrific incident." And again, we are waiting on that press conference just to learn more about what took place today, but we are going to recap what we know currently. According to Arkansas State Police, again, the shooting happened around 11:30 this morning at the town's Mad Butcher grocery store. 2 people were killed, both of them civilians. 5 others were hurt. State police have also shared that a law enforcement officer was shot and has non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators have also confirmed officers critically wounded the shooter, and they are now in custody. As the investigation continues, RDOT says that a section of Highway 79B and 4th Street is closed due to the incident. As Sarah said, a lot of the surrounding streets are still closed down, some of the surrounding businesses, but we are working to get more information on this developing story, and we will continue to keep you updated. Again, still waiting on that press conference from Arkansas State Police just to learn more. But some things to note about the area of Fordyce. This is a relatively smaller city in the southeast part of Dallas County. Just over about 3,300 people, and as the years pass, that population is steadily declining. So for a lot of these people in this community, something like this comes as a bit of a shock. As Sarah mentioned, it's one of the only grocery stores in that area, but a lot of people just concerned with what this means after the fact. We did see some damage to that grocery store just in terms of the bullet holes that Sarah was describing. A lot of police presence still out there, but certainly not what we saw originally when police responded to this incident. But we know a lot of other departments have been working swiftly to respond to this scene. Another thing to note, this is a community with a large African American population, according to the last census, though we do not know and cannot determine if the racial makeup of the city actually played a role in the events that we saw unfold today. But we know that this is a large railroad transportation and timber community, but a smaller community here in Arkansas. Let's take another look at just the overall response from politicians. Here's a response from Attorney General Tim Griffin saying, quote, "I am following the developments and information coming out of Fordyce after a gunman senselessly opened fire outside of a grocery store earlier today. My thoughts and prayers are with the wounded, including the law enforcement officer who was shot, as well as the families of the 2 people who were killed." Again, just continuing to learn more information about this situation. But I want to bring in THV 11's Ashley Godwin. Again, we are waiting on this press conference, but Ashley was only a couple blocks away from Sarah, who was kind of in the midst of where everything is happening with a lot of the police presence. But I want to go now to Ashley, who can tell us a bit about what she's learned. Ashley, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Faith, we are waiting for that press conference to start, and there are several media outlets here waiting to hear from police on exactly what happened. We've heard a lot throughout the day, but we are waiting for that official press conference to start. And I will tell you, as we've been standing here for the past several minutes, there were more police cars that went down the road to the Mad Butcher where the shooting happened. So I don't know exactly what's going on there because media is here for the press conference, but we are waiting. And they told us it would start at 3:30, and it's been 15 minutes since that. But we're just anxiously wanting to know, and the community is wanting to know, how could something like this happen? And here's the limited details we have so far. It was around 11:30 today when gunfire rang out at the Mad Butcher. Like Sarah said, the only grocery store in town. Now, Arkansas State Police responded. They tell us that 9 people total were shot, 2 have died. That includes 1 officer. He is expected to live. That shooter that they say committed the crime is being treated. He was critically injured and he is in custody right now. We also learned recently that the ATF is here and FBI is here to assist in figuring out what happened. But until we have police show up to this press conference, we're all anxiously waiting, Faith, to see what those details are.
All right. Thank you so much, Ashley. Again, just continuing to wait to figure out what exactly happened. THV 11's Ashley Godwin and Sarah in close proximity to everything as it unfolded and giving us the sights and sounds of just that police presence and everything that we know so far. Again, we will continue to keep you updated here and on THV11.com for the latest information on what exactly happened. Again, happening at around 11:30 this morning at the town's Mad Butcher grocery store. 2 people killed, and we're not really sure exactly how many people were injured. Obviously, this is a developing story. We're not sure exactly of that finite number, but as we get more information, we're going to continue to update you, especially as we hear from Arkansas State Police in a few minutes when that press conference does get underway. But again, I'm sure they have their hands busy just with the overall response and the investigation, but limited information right now. So as we learn more, we will continue to keep you updated. As Sarah and Ashley just mentioned, we do know that a law enforcement officer was shot, but he thankfully has non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators have also confirmed that officers were critically wounded the shooter. Again, just as those updates are coming in, we're learning more and more. I want to look now at a tweet and social media response from Representative French Hill. He says, quote, "I am grateful to our brave law enforcement officers and first responders for their swift action to save lives today. My prayers are with the victims, their families, and the Fordyce community during this heartbreaking time." Again, a lot of representatives and of course we heard from the governor earlier today, just taking to social media just to express their condolences and their concern for what exactly happened out there today. Again, this investigation continues. We are still waiting to hear from Arkansas State Police on how this unfolded. The official numbers for everyone who was wounded, we're continuing to learn more information. So RDOT says that a section of Highway 79B and 4th Street was closed due to this incident. We are working to get more information on this developing story. We do know that some of the surrounding streets as well are also closed just so police can properly respond to this area. Now, some things to note about the area of Fordyce. This is a relatively smaller city in the southeast Dallas County, and it has just over about 3,300 people. That population does get smaller as the years go by. So a lot of people in this area just concerned and just shocked that something like this could happen in the area. So I want to bring in THV 11's Ashley Godwin. Ashley is a native of Arkansas. She grew up here. Ashley, what can you tell us just about growing up in Arkansas and the area of Fordyce and it being a smaller community and how this does come as a bit of a shock? Ashley, what can you tell us?
Faith, Arkansas is Southern hospitality. It is home. It is, you know, anyone from here, we know that we are a big community and we are proud to be from here. Something like this happening in Fordyce is not what we would expect. When I first started hearing that there was a shooting that happened here, you know, it was shocking to hear. And when I drove down here and I was talking to people, it's just not a community that you would ever hear that happen in. And that's what I heard from a lot of the community members as well. And we are anxious to get those details. Like I said, we're at the press conference right now, waiting for police to tell us as much as they can, because right now this is still very active. While Sarah is down closer to where the shooting happened at the grocery store. We're a couple blocks away, but I can turn and still see a lot of police presence, a lot of investigators walking around. There's still police tape up. The road is blocked off for several blocks both ways from the grocery store. So it is surreal to be here talking about this, but we are here for you and the community to make sure that we get those details and we make sure everyone is safe now and that we can bring closure to this incident, Faith.
Now, Ashley, I do know, and I want to go back to Ashley just briefly. We know that a lot of police response is out there. I think I've read that we know that Dallas County Police, Calhoun County Police responding, Arkansas State Police. Ashley, is there anything that you can tell us just in terms of response and maybe some of the police cars that you're seeing so we can kind of get a sense of the full police response? Ashley, what can you tell us?
All day we have seen police cars and police in the area. I can't tell you how many agencies I've seen, from Arkansas State Police, FBI is now here, ATF, Calhoun County, Bradley, Dallas County, all surrounding agencies have responded to help and assist and make sure this community is okay, and that police presence is here to make sure that the community gets the assistance that they need. And when we talk about close-knit community, this community is roughly the size of maybe 4,000 people. Lots of people standing outside, wondering what's going on, talking to each other, trying to figure out what's happening. And that's why we're here, to bring you the news and let you know what's going on and to make sure everything's safe. And like, I am here at the press conference right now, waiting with several other media outlets to make sure that we can get the latest information to you to let you know what's going on. So it's surreal, it's heartbreaking, but we are here to, get you the latest information.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. Again, a developing story. We are still waiting to hear from Arkansas State Police on those official numbers, the totality and scope of what we saw out here today, but truly just a sad set of events that unfolded here today. Still learning more about this situation, but I want to bring in THV 11 Sarah Horbakowitz, who can again show us what exactly is happening out there. Sarah, what can you tell us about what you've learned and what you're seeing at this time?
Yeah, Faith, I spoke with a lot of people who were around or came by as soon as they heard, but I also spoke with a girl who was in the store shopping with her family for dinner tonight, and she said someone just started shooting and they went to hide so that they could be safe, and now they are out. And so I got the chance to speak with her, and I think she said she's still in shock, but I want to share with you guys some of her story today about how she is safe right now.
So we walked in the Mad Butcher, and Mama had stopped and talked to this woman, and so she had talked for maybe about 5 minutes, and then we had went down the aisle to get the stuff. So she went to the other aisle, and when I had heard this noise, and I thought it was a rat, so I looked back. When I looked back, I just seen everybody ducking, and I just seen shots coming through the window, and so that's when I had hurry up and grab my brother, because he was in the buggy. So I had hurry up and grab my brother, and we had ran. By that time, my mama had met me halfway. She was like, they shooting. I said, what? So we had ran to the freezer part on the right side, and I had seen this door. They said it was the bathroom, but it was locked. So I guess it was people in there. So I said, Mama, it's locked. So then we had ran to the other one, and it was 2 workers back there. They was finna get ready to close the freezer. And by that time, they got ready to close the freezer. Mom was like, can we get in with y'all? So we got in, and when we got in, the woman was like, what's going on? I was like, they shooting. So then that's when she had got like this long stick thing. We had put it in front of the door. Like, we didn't have no service in there or nothing, so we couldn't call nobody. So like I said, it was just a regular day, and it just all happened so fast.
It's just so tough to have those conversations, to even hear that story. She even told me she was still in shock, and that's why she's not emotional yet, but she's scared for the next loud noise she hears. She says police told them to cover their eyes on their way out of the store so they didn't see other bodies. And I mean, how do you explain that? How do you even share that experience? And it's just so confusing, but we are hoping to still get answers about what happened, about what's next. And I know that the state police are planning to start their press conference soon, and we can hope to get more information from them. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Sarah, thank you. As she just said, we are learning that Arkansas State Police is getting very close to that press conference, and that is when we will learn additional details. I want to take a look back at just the response we're seeing on social media from, Governor Sanders to Representative French Hill. Let's look at Sarah Huckabee Sanders and her response on social media today. She said, quote, "I have been briefed on the tragic shooting in Fordyce, and I'm in constant contact with state police at the scene. I am thankful to law enforcement and first responders for their quick and heroic action to save lives. My prayers are with the victims and all those impacted by this horrific incident." And that was a social media post from earlier today. I know a lot of other officials and just leaders in the state of Arkansas are continuing to respond. We've also heard from Representative French Hill. He's also expressing his condolences and his thankfulness for law enforcement. We are not really sure the totality of all responding agencies at this time. That's something we're hoping to learn from Arkansas State Police in this press conference. Also, we don't know how many people are injured at this time. We were told 2 people were killed, but the full scope of the injuries we're still not really sure. But again, that is one of the things we're hoping to learn from this police press conference. Let's take a look at the scene again. This is the Mad Butcher grocery store there, and this is the scene earlier today. As you can see, just a lot of police tape and a lot of police presence out there just responding to this incident. As you saw in that video, a lot of bullet holes, just in that grocery store window. And as Sarah shared, a lot of people just having to run for their lives and hide in that grocery store. A lot of people concerned, just with what this means for their family members, trying to learn if their family members were impacted or involved in this shooting. We do know that a lot of the nearby roadways are shut down so police can continue to respond. Not really sure exactly the scope of the injuries or how many police officers did respond there today, but again, just hoping to learn more when we hear from Arkansas State Police at this press conference. But by what Ashley and Sarah told us, we do know that Calhoun County, Dallas County, and a lot of other police officers just were responding there just to kind of see how this all unfolded. Again, we are told that this press conference is just minutes away, so we do want you guys to stick here as we continue to learn more. But again, here's what we know right now. The shooting happened around 11:30 this morning at the town's Mad Butcher grocery store. Now we know 2 people were killed, both of them civilians. 5 others were hurt, but again, we're trying to learn more about just how many people were injured. Now, state police have also shared that a law enforcement officer was shot and has non-life-threatening injuries, but this investigation is ongoing. Now, we're told that this press conference is within seconds about to start, and that is when we can learn additional information. But we do know that officers did critically wound the shooter, and they are now in custody. So it is an ongoing investigation. RDOT says that a lot of that nearby roadways, Highway 79B and 4th Street, is still closed due to the incident. But we are waiting and hoping to learn more, but just about that surrounding area. We know from Sarah that a lot of people are just concerned. So let's listen in to exactly what happened today and hear from Arkansas State Police.
You guys ready? Good afternoon. My name is Mike Hager. I'm the Secretary of Department of Public Safety and the Director of the Arkansas State Police. We're going to give a brief statement of facts, not answer any questions at this time. First, this situation is secure and it's contained. There are no active threats to the community. At approximately 11:38, 911 calls were received that there was an active shooting situation at the Mad Butcher grocery store in Fordyce. Law enforcement responded immediately and exchanged gunfire with a lone suspect. Unfortunately, we can confirm that 11 innocent civilians were shot, and 3 of those are deceased. 2 law enforcement officers were injured in the exchange of gunfire. The suspect was also shot and taken into custody. The injuries to the officers and the suspect are not considered life-threatening. The remaining civilian injuries range from non-life-threatening to extremely critical. The investigation is in its early stages, and we have no information or no more information that we can release at this time. The Arkansas State Police will be the lead investigative agency, and all media inquiries should be routed through our communications department. We do anticipate a further news release later in the evening. I've been in constant contact with Governor Sanders. She's committed any resources needed to aid in this investigation or any support needed for the community of Fordyce and Dallas County. To reiterate the total numbers, we had 11 civilians shot. 3 of those are deceased, and we do have some that are critical. We have 2 law enforcement officers that were shot. Neither of their injuries are considered to be life-threatening, and we had 1 suspect that was shot, is in custody. His injuries are also not life-threatening. Just on behalf of the state police, the law enforcement community, all public and first responders, it's tragic. Our hearts are broken. Our prayers, along with Governor Sanders, the entire state of Arkansas, will be with this community and with those affected victims. Thank you.
All right. Now, as you just heard, we're getting more information on just what unfolded today. Now, we do know from Arkansas State Police that the situation is contained, but I do want to go to THV 11's Ashley Godwin just to reiterate what we know so far. Ashley, what can you tell us from what you heard from that press conference?
Faith, that was Colonel Mike Hager with Arkansas State Police who gave us that information. The numbers have gone up, so let's go through them. He said 11 total people were shot. 3 of those people are dead. 2 officers were injured. It sounds like the suspect is expected to be okay. I need to re-verify that because we've had reports that he was critically injured, and then right there at the end you heard him say that he had non-life-threatening injuries. He also said that it was 1 shooter and that he has been taken into custody. I know that being out here there were some questions about how many people were involved in this. Arkansas State Police says it was 1 shooter. So that is the information that we have gotten so far. Colonel Hager said that Governor Sanders is utilizing all resources in this to make sure that Fordyce is taken care of and they have the assistance that they need. People standing out here, several agencies, including a prosecutor from the area, came and made sure that the community was safe and okay. FBI's here, ATF is here, and it sounds like this is going to continue to be an investigation for quite a while. They didn't allow us to ask any questions, but if we do have questions, we are able to send them to one of our media contacts, so we will definitely be doing that as well to make sure we have the latest and most up-to-date information. Faith.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. Again, what she just said, 2 officers were shot. It looks like 11 civilians were shot, 3 deceased. Now, this is an ongoing investigation. We're told that ASP is leading the investigation, and we're continuing to learn more information. Now, we will continue to update you here as well as online with the very latest of what we know. Please join us for THV 11 News at 5. That will start in just a little less than an hour, but we will continue to update you. Thanks for joining us tonight.